What is going on, everyone? Well, wait a minute. We got sideways Dutch. We got sideways Dutch. There he is. Now he's right side up. Dutch, you all right there? We good? All of a sudden, he can't hear me anymore. And Dutch, oh man, what a great way to start off the show. Welcome into Smack Talk, everybody. Rick Ucchino here. We'll try to get Dirty D back on here in a second. We do appreciate all you guys tuning in to Smack Talk here on a Friday night. We made it. The weekend is here. SmackDown is in the books. Rampage is in the books. A rough SmackDown tonight. If you have not heard the words from the man himself, obviously there was a scary spot involving Big E. He took a bad bump on a belly-to-belly suplex from Ridge Holland, and he was down. Video surfaced online of Big E being taken out of the arena on a stretcher after that match was over. And he kind of gave the thumbs up there as he was leaving the arenas. We'll bring Dutch back in here. Do you got us, Dutch?
Oh, can you hear me?
I got you. I got you now, Dutch. We got you. You can't
I cannot hear you, man. Nothing.
All right. Try coming back in.
I'll be back.
All right. Well, technical difficulties here. But anyway, Big E was taken out on a stretcher. He put a video out on Twitter just a little bit ago saying that he has feeling in all of his extremities, his fingers and everything like that. His strength feels good, but unfortunately the doctors say that he did break his neck, which is scary. It is unfortunate. It is just, I mean, there's not enough adjectives to really describe what that is. It's just a terrible situation. Yeah, Ricky, according to Big E himself on Twitter, the doctors say that he broke his neck. Obviously, good news. He can move his fingers and everything like that. But that's the update that we have right now. And man, the outpouring has been tremendous from wrestlers all across every brand, whether it's heel, babyface, does not matter. And yeah, we do send our well wishes to Big E. Just, man, I'll tell you what, that really kind of just took you out of the entire show. And that's what happened with me on SmackDown. The opening segment with Brock was great. And then we get the Butch thing, which we'll get into. And then, yeah, the Big E neck situation, man, it just absolutely crushed you, and it took you out of the show. And again, we hope
2, 3, 4.
Right?
Am I in here?
You're in here. Do you got me?
God, I got you. I don't know what happened.
All right. Well, we got you now. We got you now.
Okay, I want everybody to tell me, did Rick slam me while I was gone?
Well, you can hit those guys. You can hit those up in the chats, but anybody who says that I did, I will not bring up your chat. We do appreciate you guys tuning in here tonight. Dutch, I was just kind of running down what happened with Big E tonight and his own report that he did break his neck on that belly-to-belly suplex from Ridge Holland. Just a really, really scary situation. And, in that kind of situation, because you're talking about a broken neck, like nothing is good in that situation, but the fact that he can kind of move his fingers a little bit, and he moved them very well. He was able to record a video. And then the fact that, he says his strength feels good and he's moving all right. That's got to be a half decent sign, but still, this is just absolutely terrible.
Oh, it is terrible. You work, WrestleMania is like the biggest show. You're all geared up and pumped up for that. And then, 3 weeks and a day before the show, you end up with an injury like this. He is lucky that he's not paralyzed. And I'm glad that he's not. Good guy. I wish all the best to him, but it's really, really sad that Big E is hurt like this. And not only just skip WrestleMania, just talk about his life.
Yeah.
If he'd have hit just right, you could very easily die from an injury like that. And it's what wrestlers, that's what they do all the time, and think nothing of it. till something gets hurt like that. So my best wishes to Big E, and I hope he recovers and gets back 100%, and hope he gets there soon. But I think by and large, he's out of WrestleMania.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about that with 3 weeks left to go. You know, when you're in that situation, because, you know, anybody who has been on a frequent watcher of the show knows that I did a little bit of training. Never did a belly to back suplex. Never really did a whole lot of those kind of maneuvers. I didn't really want to go head over heels on that. You know, get over enough there.
Well, first of all, in wrestling, you're depending on your opponent at least 50 to 60%. So unless his opponent slipped, or he didn't get him up, or maybe Big E didn't propel himself to clear himself, who knows? Who knows what happened? But the fact that it happened is concerning enough.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, you can get hurt just like this.
Yeah. I mean, and there's been a run of really scary stuff. You go back to Madcap Moss's, tucking his head on the inverted Alabama slam in Saudi Arabia. Just this past Sunday at Revolution, Jericho got dumped on the top of his head. There's been a couple, man. There've been some like very scary bumps that have happened, and then Ease was just the latest. And luckily everybody else was able to avoid injury. But this is, I mean, there's really no kind of way to. Man, there's it's just a terrible situation. And it sucks for him and it sucks for this guy. And I'm not blaming WWE. Like, I'm not saying that they're at fault for this, but I can't help but think that he shouldn't even have been in this situation, because he still should have been over on Raw. He still should have been in a main event scene, because he is a star, and he never really should have been dropped the WWE championship. He should be preparing to fight Seth Rollins in 3 weeks. Like, that's just my opinion. I wish they would have stuck with that plan. And it just sucks that if they would have stuck with that plan, this wouldn't have happened. I'm not saying that it's WWE's fault or anything like that, but I just can't get that thought out of my mind that, this wouldn't have happened if he didn't get moved back over to SmackDown. It just absolutely sucks. Steven, the latest word about Xavier Woods is from Fightful Select is that he has been cleared. He's on the internal roster sheet as of right now, and I believe that the plan was that they were setting up a trios match at WrestleMania, which is why Butch was brought in this evening. So it was going to be Sheamus and Ridge and Pete Dunne. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, against all three members of the New Day. I mean, this is going to throw a major wrench, obviously, into those WrestleMania plans. So they're going to have to, again, this whole event has kind of been thrown together with the ever-changing card here, Dutch, and now they gotta reconfigure things again.
Well, that's what it is. It's a reconfigurement, really, almost every week. Depending on whatever, depending on the circumstances of who got hurt, who's available, who had to leave, who had to come in.
Yeah.
And they're used to this because they'll rewrite it on the spot if they have to. And it might not be what the original plan was. Sometimes it's better, and sometimes it's equal to it. I doubt. And sometimes it's a lot less. That's what they're trying to avoid. At least not make it be less. At least kind of get it close to the middle. But those things happen, and I think most people in wrestling accept that. I think most fans accept that.
Yeah.
Because it's like a football player getting hurt.
Sure.
He has to have a substitute go in. Well, you hope he does well, but your guy can't go. And you're disappointed, but you'll live with it.
Ozzy, hi, Rick and Dutch. Where is Sid? Sid is on
wait a minute. I don't know if we should release this, really. Sid is in jail. I hate to say that, but he's been arrested for impersonating a wrestling commentator.
Oh! I mean, that's a third-degree felony in some states.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
No, why is Sid not here?
Sid is on a very hard-earned vacation with his family this week.
Well, very good. I hope he enjoys it.
Yeah, so he's off this week, and it was very nice of Cincinnati Bell to make sure that my internet actually worked this evening, so I could do the show this week, as opposed to just about 10-20 last week, just completely shutting it off for whatever damn reason. So I'm happy that I'm able to be here. I wish I could have been with you guys last week because SmackDown was actually a good show last week. I come back and everything goes to hell. So I guess you guys can just blame me.
Well, we missed you last week, right?
I do appreciate it.
Like Ted Bundy missed electricity. You get that? You don't get that. You don't get that.
I got that.
You know who Ted Bundy is?
Yes. Notorious serial killer. Yes.
Yes.
Got the electric chair. I got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
I have another one, but I can't use it.
Joseph.
I won't use it here.
Oh, sorry. Clicked on the wrong one. Where's Steven? Steven saying WWE just butchered Pete Dunne's career. All right, let's talk about this one, Dutch, because
I don't think so.
WWE. All right, so internet lost their damn minds ahead of the Big E injury is when you get Sheamus and Ridge Holland backstage and they're cutting this promo and they say they got a guy and they're going to bring him in. They're going to help him out. You might know him by another name, but we know him as Butch. And
I thought right there, how creative.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Oh. And I recognized the face.
Right.
But I couldn't place him.
Yeah, this is a guy who has a very has had a very good career under the name Pete Dunne. He's a former NXT UK champion. He's been heavily featured in NXT since coming over from NXT UK. I was really hoping that the crossover storylines that we've seen between Raw and NXT would kind of end this sort of thing where they would call somebody up and then just completely repackage him. But no, at least WWE didn't insult the audience. At least they didn't pretend like we didn't know who he was. At least they had Sheamus you know him by another name, but we're going to call him by his nickname, and his name is now.
Let me ask you something. Why do you think they do that?
I have no earthly idea.
I don't know either.
I have none.
I mean, they own it, don't they?
I would assume.
Don't they? Yes. I'm assuming that too. They own Pete Dunne. So what is the problem with letting him keep the same name? He's in the same company. I mean, doesn't make a bit of sense to me.
They did this with Piper Niven. They brought Piper Niven up over from NXT UK and named her Dewdrop, for crying out loud. And now that's kind of hindering her. It doesn't matter how great her in-ring work is. Nobody takes her. The casuals don't take her seriously because of her damn name. And they basically tied a 70-pound weight around her ability to get over. And now they're doing that with Pete Dunne. It's like you put him behind the 8-ball. That's like when they brought up Karrion Kross and they gave him a damn gimp mask. I don't know what they're doing. You have an established guy who's over with the hardcore fans, the ones who watch NXT, and you're going to bring him up here. You're going to give him a stupid hat, and you're going to call him Butch. I don't know. Rock is saying that Pete Dunne owns his name, actually. So that might have something to do with it. But, I mean, he's using it in NXT. He just signed a new contract last year.
So he owns his own name. Well, that's the reason, I guess.
Maybe.
Don't you think they would get something close to Pete Dunne? Like Cleat. What about that Cleat? Cleat Fun. That'd be good. It'd be close. At least it'd rhyme.
Couldn't you just change the spelling? Couldn't you just add a double consonant in there? You love doing that in NXT with the Bron Breakers and the Nikita Lyons of the world.
Yeah. Well, I'd put the double T in Pete. Pete Dunne. That's what I'd do. And it'd be close. So at least they'd be talking about him. Why did he change his name?
I just don't get it, man. I don't get why they do that. But the finish, I didn't know that Big E got hurt. Yeah.
But when they had the guy's own, what's his partner's name now? I even forgot his name.
What, Big E's partner?
No, Big E's partner. What was it? What is it? They were beating him up?
Yeah.
What is it?
The new guy, Butch?
No, was Big E's partner. What was his name?
Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston.
Oh, yeah. Well, I couldn't think of it. But I actually liked the finish. because he wasn't there, and I figured, why couldn't he? I thought he was selling being hurt, which actually made sense till I found out that he really was hurt.
Really was hurt, yeah.
But actually, that made the finish actually better if you take away the fact that he hurt his neck. I thought.
I was glad that Pete got involved in some way, shape, or form, because that would
you knew he was.
I hoped he would, because that would have been the absolute trifecta, would be to bring up a guy the caliber of Pete Dunne, give him a stupid new name, have him walk down to the ring, and then not do anything. That would have been the perfect way to introduce him onto the SmackDown roster. But looking at this as a whole, dumb name aside, I like this move a lot, because SmackDown needs depth, and Pete Dunne is a very, very talented in-ring performer. And honestly, I like the trio of Ridge and Sheamus and Pete Dunne. It all makes sense, and I think that could really work well as a good heel faction. This all makes sense to me. It's really, really well done, with the exception of one damn thing, that they felt they had to just change Pete Dunne's name, and that is going to be hard for a lot of the hardcore fans and a lot of the hardcore Pete Dunne fans to get over. So again, it's not doing him any favors, it's putting him behind the 8 ball. But looking at it as a whole, Pete Dunne's on SmackDown, that's a good thing. I like this trio with Sheamus and Ridge Holland. That's a good thing. How do you get past the name?
You just have to get past it. Give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it'll be fading into the background. See, this offensiveness you found that WWE did to you, it will fade. It will fade into the background, and you still won't like it any better, but it won't be on the top of your head, because it's fresh right now, because it just happened like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So it's fresh on your mind, and so you're like a wrestling fan. You want to bitch and moan, okay?
That's very,
because
very
that's what they do. That's what football fans do. Oh, how can they be so stupid in this? Because they're customers, they're fans, and they've earned the right to moan and groan about it. But then again, if they do something good with the guy, they'll forget about it. And then they'll be saying, damn, that was a great move they did.
Like I said, I like the move in and of itself. It's going to be hard to get past. It's going to be hard to get past the name change. Christopher says Pete Dunne is a good name. It absolutely is. Guys, get in your comments, get in your questions. If you want to ask Dutch literally anything, you want to guarantee it gets on, you can send us a super chat as well. You can ask Dutch anything like this one. Dutch, what is the worst ring name you were ever given?
The worst ring name I was ever given. I was never given a ring name.
You were always.
No, I always made up whatever I used. I came up with.
So what was the one time that you came up with?
Well, it wasn't a bad name. It just didn't work. It was called Chris Gallagher. I was Chris Gallagher for about 3 months or whatever, but that never kind of clicked. It never even clicked with me. It didn't click with the people. And then the name Dutch Mantell, I was given that name by Buddy Fuller, an old time promoter. And if you look up Dutch Mantell in Wikipedia or whatever, he was a real guy. He was from the Netherlands, and he was a shooter, and he wasn't a big guy. He's like 160 pounds, but he'd take a guy 240 down and tie him up and beat him right on the spot. Interesting read about the original Dutch Mantell. Of course, I've made people forget him by now.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
for my histrionics that I pulled out. So, and then Zeb, I was Uncle Zeb at first, and then when I came back, I was Zeb Coulter, and I think that was taken from Ann Coulter, the Fox woman. I think Road Dogg gave me that name, but we spell our names.
I never even put 2 and 2 together on that one.
I think Road Dogg did that because he's pretty well politically oriented, and he fought in Desert Storm. He's got some great stories about Desert Storm. They went out there and put him in the desert, and he sat there for like 4 to 5 months they didn't go anywhere. He just stood out in the desert. Go to a tent every night, go to the mess hall, and that's all he did. I said, "Did you ever see any action?" He said, "No." I said, "Was it hot?" He said, "Hot." Hell yeah, it was hot. But he's got some great stories about that. But I'm glad he didn't get killed. I'm glad I think this was during the Kuwaiti War when I think Iraq invaded Kuwait. That's what he went over there for. So.
And he just sat in the desert for 4 months.
That's all he did. He said, "I'd like to tell some more stories that don't got none." He said, "I can make a lot of them up." He said, "I've heard a bunch." I said, "No, that's okay." Were you ever in war, Rick?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I was not.
You were actually too young for that. I'm way too young.
Oh God, I'm only 33. I'll be 34 next month.
No, that war was 50 years ago. Was it 50? Yeah, it was 50.
Yeah.
Because I was there.
Way before my time.
Well, but I had my to say about it. I'd have canceled you out before you got here. I'd have talked to your mom and daddy. I said, "Do you really want to carry through with this now? Do you want to have a little Ricky running around?"
Oh, trust me, I'm 4 years younger than my brother. That was totally an accident. Continue to get your comments in here, guys. Let's go back to the start of SmackDown tonight, which was one of the few good things that I enjoyed in the show.
But did you like SmackDown?
Look, I'll be honest, and I said this at the top of the show where you were having your technical difficulties. When Big E kind of got hurt, it really kind of took me out of the show. Like it was really hard to get kind of back into the program after that. But there was a few things that I liked, and we'll get into those because I like to stay on the positives. I don't want to bitch about everything. But I thought Brock's opening was great tonight. He comes out there and he is all business. Doesn't do the little dance that he does. Didn't even do his, hip gyration thing he does when the pyro goes off. You could tell he was pissed after the Madison Square Garden incident, which is, that was that angle that they filmed and they wanted it everywhere where the bloodline left him laying and they bloodied him up and lived up to their names and everything like that. And it's one of the most viewed videos in WWE history. He comes out there. He's pissed off. He says he wants Roman's blood for blood. And of course, Paul Heyman comes out there and says, "Well, of course Roman Reigns isn't there tonight because that's all part of the plan." And then Brock was like, "Oh, cool. Well, then I'm going to murder you instead." And then you see Paul Heyman scurry off, and we had Brock throw around some security guards. And overall, I thought that was a really good open to the show.
No, that was a good opening. Hey, he put that one security guard. I thought he hurt him. The one that he pushed away, then he shoved him to the right. Whatever he hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. It was some kind of scaffolding or something like that. But yeah, he got slammed in there pretty good.
He ate it up. But that was good because now I think you'll see that Roman and Lesnar at WrestleMania, that'll be a violent match because they have to. That'll be more violent than what they just did, unless they add something to it. But I don't think they need to strip it at all. Just put them in the ring and let them go.
Yeah, this one's gonna get nuts, right? It's gonna get nuts. I think I like that they're making it even more personal now. Like even Brock tonight, like he took the WWE Championship, and he just chucked it to the commentary table. Like,
did he hit somebody out there? I thought he threw it in the crowd.
I thought I saw it land on the commentary table, but I'm not entirely sure. But he chucked it a pretty good distance, so maybe Pat McAfee caught it. I don't know. But
I saw Pat McAfee. I thought looking back, so I thought it kind of went over their head. Anyway,
somebody got a great souvenir if that's the case. If somebody chucked a championship belt into the crowd, I don't care how much I paid for front row seats. I'm grabbing that sumbitch and I'm running.
They would tackle you and just beat the hell out of them and take it.
I think it should be like a foul ball in baseball. You threw it to me, it landed in the field of play. I should.
How much does the baseball cost?
I don't know.
$10.
$10 probably, something like that.
That belt's about $3,500 at least.
They got it lying around.
Well, they do have the money, so it don't matter. But it was different, and when Heyman come out there and he took off after Heyman, they got the show moving. So usually I hate SmackDown But tonight I kind of enjoyed it because it was a maintenance show, but they did 3 brawls in it. That actually was pretty good.
See, now I thought last week's SmackDown was the best one that they've had in quite some time. Did you enjoy last week's episode?
Well, tell me what was on it. Hell, I've slept since then.
That was the one where Ricochet won the Intercontinental Championship, which I kind of called, by the way, when he.
That was good.
Yeah.
And what is that move he does? What's it called? When he hooks the feet and straight down. Zayn took that. I thought he broke his neck.
He tucked his head real quick on that one. Yeah, for sure.
Ooh. That was good. That was really good.
Yeah, they had a good main event tonight as well, which we'll get into. So after the Big E and Butch situation, then we had your favorite people come out tonight, Dutch. We had the Happy Time Gang. Oh
boy.
They jumped.
Hey, but it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. They jumped the Viking Raiders backstage. They take out the Viking Raiders. You add in now.
Was it a 6-man? Were they leading into a 6-man?
Yeah, so it was supposed to be a 6-man tag match tonight, and then
so they all beat the Raiders up, left them.
Yep, and then all of a sudden it turned into a 5-on-1 affair, or 4-on-1 affair, and I love the fact that they ganged up on Drew McIntyre and they had him beat down, and then McIntyre is able to just pop back up, take out 3 of the dudes, and then all of a sudden it's just him and Corbin. I love the fact that they're keeping him and Corbin kind of separated from one another. I know this is a match that a lot of people aren't thrilled about or don't think that this is a WrestleMania worthy match, but they are trying here. Both of these guys, they had some nice exchanges on social media. These guys are trying their damnedest to make the audience care about this match.
And they still got 3 weeks before WrestleMania to add just a little bit more of an edge on it. But I think it's pretty well, it's set pretty well right now. If they just maybe add a little more edge, like I call it, I think they have the people wanting to see it. Me personally, how many times have we seen it? 40?
Oh, McIntyre and Corbin? I mean, they've been involved.
A combination of.
It's been going on for a while now. I think it's been pretty much going on since the dang draft, hasn't it? Since October at this point? We need Sid here. Sid's the one with an actual memory. Mine sucks.
Yeah, I think it's been going on since the pandemic started. That's what I think. It seems like forever.
I for the next 3 weeks, I would like to see this evolve into where McIntyre is trying to get his hands on Corbin and he just can't. Like that's the story.
What is wrong with Moss? Does he have a death wish?
Probably.
He got suplexed in the rampway.
Yeah, he took the move.
God.
That's the same move the Big E got hurt on. Same one.
That one?
Yeah, the belly to back suplex, yeah.
Well, that's a hard bump to take.
Yeah.
You're only going to take so many of those. Because that hip's going to go. But you try to tell them and they don't believe you. So they get to about after 35 and it's like, oh, my back hurts a little bit. Oh, really? I wonder why.
You know, I was at an indie event. I was working an indie event one time, and the guy that I wrestled in my one match, Lynn Efron, he took a choke slam to the outside, to the floor, where there was no padding, for a show that he did not get paid for.
God.
For a show that had about 35 people there. And the way that the building was set up, maybe 10 people saw him take that bump. And I will never forget the promoter in the back going, "What in the fuck are you taking that bump for tonight?
Oh my God.
Save it.
Well,
never take that for free."
Well, that's what some guys do. They think they're going to get noticed no matter how many people's there.
Mm-hmm.
And they fail to realize that the bump may look great, but you're the one taking it and you're the one hurting. The only 2 things real about wrestling are the miles and the bumps and the money. Well, you got another thing too.
Yeah.
But those bumps, you don't know when they're going to hit you. as evidence tonight with Big E. I don't know how he just didn't get turned over, did he? He just got landed right straight down on his neck.
Yeah, like I said, the replay's out there. It's tough to watch, but yeah, he just didn't get fully turned over and ended up landing right on top of his head. When that dropped. If you're tuning in late, we do appreciate everybody who's tuning into the show. If you haven't seen the update from Big E himself, he did put out a video saying that he feels all right. He can move his fingers. He's got everything. Got some strength in him, but he said doctors did tell him that he did break his neck. Xavier Woods tweeting out about a half hour ago that he did go to see Big E. Says he's in good spirits. And so look, that's the other thing, man. Big E is beloved, the outpouring for him. I mean, and he looks so like positive in that video when he tweeted it out. It's incredible for anybody to have kind of like almost like a smile glow to him. After
he didn't get knocked out, did he?
That it was hard because the camera panned away just so quickly afterwards, but you could tell by the look of the referee that something was wrong there.
So how do they know he broke his neck? Did they take him to the hospital?
Yeah.
That's place? Okay.
Yeah. So
wow, hate that. Really hate that. So.
And like I said, it really kind of took me out of the show. After we had McIntyre stand tall against the ambush, we had a promo exchange between Charlotte and Ronda in the ring, which I'm sitting here and I'm watching this and I'm going, does this really advance this story at all? Whatsoever?
I think Ronda forgot hers. I really think she had pauses and like she was searching in her head what she's going to say next. I think she forgot some of it.
Promos are not her strength, and this is something that she's talked about before. She has a problem with public speaking and this, that, and the other thing. But it's like Charlotte roasted her tonight on the mic. Charlotte just brought the energy again tonight. When Ronda was talking, it was kind of like I'm talking right now, just very conversational. And she was talking fast too. It's like, I don't know, man. There was just something's not clicking with her mic work right now.
Well, they haven't trained her at all how to speak to a crowd. Because when she started speaking in an ordinary voice.
Yeah. Exactly.
People didn't hear her, even with the mic. So, and if you say she has a problem with it, I agree. But I think you're seeing two Rondas. You're seeing one Ronda coming down the ramp.
Yeah.
Smiling and touching little babies and doing all this stuff. Then she gets in the ring and then she tries to turn into the badass Ronda Rousey. I think she's having a moment of transition that she's not comfortable with. But people will live with that too.
Christian King saying that she doesn't want to be there. That I disagree with. If she didn't want to be there, she wouldn't be there. That's
now, Kristen, that's our job to say that. That's not up to you. How do you know? Do you call her up and ask her? I actually called her up.
That he's not the only one that said that. I'm a firm believer. She doesn't need this paycheck. She just had a baby 4 months ago. If she didn't want to be there, she would not be there right now heading into WrestleMania. I just think there's something that's not clicking, and I don't know if she's trying to rush through her promos because she doesn't want the audience to boo her because she's had an issue with that in the past, but apparently that's been cleared up. I don't know what it is, but something is not clicking right now with her on the microphone. It's just not. You come back to the end of the night and things got heated up a little bit better. Ronda Rousey, when she's playing a heel, she was great. She was confident. She was a badass on the microphone. That was some of her best work. When it comes to being a babyface promo, I don't know, man. It's like she either doesn't want to do it or she doesn't know how to do it. It's one of the.
Give me the finish of Ronda and Flair.
Yeah. So at the end of the show, this was after the main event. There was because if you remember the promo exchange, Ronda challenged Charlotte to come at her, and Charlotte was in her really nice outfit with the heels and everything like that, and Charlotte just left the ring. So I was like, okay, that really didn't go anywhere. It didn't really progress the storyline. And then they closed out the show kind of rehashing what they did ahead of WrestleMania 35, in which you had Becky was involved at the time before WrestleMania 35, but you had Charlotte and Ronda backstage, and they started brawling on top of a car. Good way to close the show, but it kind of maybe like an homage to what they did in 30 right before 35, but it was pretty much the exact same angle that they did, except they weren't getting arrested this time around.
Well, she hooked the chin and she pulled her back, and she was almost like a U. Her legs were up under her.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, like I said, I thought the brawl was fine. Again, it's like it's one of those. It's like Sid would say, I've seen it before. They did kind of that exact same angle at 35. But as you told me before we went on the air, we're supposed to forget all that stuff by the next year, right? That's
you remember something 3 years ago. The fan turnover from. Have you ever heard that the fans turn over every 3 to 4 years? New fans, no. You've heard that, right?
I have not actually.
No, really. Okay.
I mean, we have that same thing in radio. It's like you're announcing to a new audience every 15 minutes in radio. That's what it is. So every 15 minutes, yep. the audience changes. So whatever I read at 6:30 in the morning on 700 WLW, I am speaking to an entirely different audience by the time I read the 7:30.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Especially in the mornings.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Don't you think? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I just made that up so I would sound knowledgeable. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I bought into that for a half second there. But,
oh yeah.
Well,
okay. How many matches did they have tonight on SmackDown?
Oh, now you're gonna make me count. Let's see.
Was it 3?
We had the tag team match, right, where Big E unfortunately got hurt. The McIntyre was a no match. You want to talk about hoping the audience forgets something here, Dutch? We had the women's tag team match tonight, which was very quick. It wasn't bad. It was just quick. I do like the team of Naomi and Sasha. I think they work really, really well together. But explain to me why Shayna Baszler and Natalya are all of a sudden tagging when they spent the better part of 2021 as tag team rivals, going up against one another in separate teams. It was Natalya and Tamina against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for much of 2021. And then we got no explanation whatsoever for why they were teaming. And then they lost. So it doesn't really matter, because I was sitting here thinking, oh, they're going to somehow win this dang match, and then they're going to get added to this women's tag team title match at WrestleMania and make it a fatal 4-way, but they didn't. So
it makes no sense at all. And I can't, I know people forget, but the one thing about fans is if you got to explain things to them, or make it at least have a reason to do something. So if they're going to team up, somebody gets hurt that's not there, and have Natalie go to her and ask her, hey, I know you don't be my partner now. Okay.
Thank you. That's all.
She just agrees. It needs a 15-second maintenance interview. It's all it needs. So now your commentators can go back to that, and they can say, why are they together? Because, the fans are saying the same thing you said. They fought each other, they hated each other, and now they're teaming up. I don't get it.
Give me just, because we saw Natalya last week. She was watching the monitor during the one-on-one matchup that happened last week between Carmella and Naomi. And so they were obviously foreshadowing to the fact that Natalya wants to get her WrestleMania spot. She wants to find a way to get in on this tag team title match. And then we saw this past Monday that they threw Rhea and Liv Morgan together randomly, and they already earned their way in. So yeah, just kind of cutting a 15-second promo is like, look, I don't like you. You don't like me. Neither one of us is on WrestleMania right now. Neither one of us can even get on SmackDown right now. Let's make the show. Common goal. Let's work together and go. It was nice to see Shayna Baszler on the show tonight, because we haven't seen a whole lot of her recently. But yeah, again, this just doesn't make sense. It's like all it would take is the most simplest little thing. And it seems like they constantly overlook that. It's either like they don't care or they don't think we don't care. I don't know which one it is, but either way, things get lost in the shuffle. And this
I will go with your last thought. They think that it doesn't make a difference. And by and large, it doesn't. But it's a little thing that tick wrestling fans off. And you don't want them pissed off because it's the little things that make your show. I mean, it's not going to kill it, but it doesn't help it at all. And that right there is a prime example of what you brought up. Why are these two together? They hated each other last year, and we never saw them get together. And all of a sudden, they're in there.
I mean, they did.
But the announcers could have kind of told that story, but they didn't.
Let's talk about the
two matches
part of the night.
When it ended.
That's for sure.
That is so cold. These guys are busting their butts for your entertainment, and you're glad it's over. See how you are.
I don't think there is one singular person that has been more valuable to SmackDown over the last year than Pat McAfee.
Oh, yeah, he's done a great job.
Pat McAfee is great at every single thing that he does. You want to talk about doing all of the little things right. Pat McAfee does it. He just gets it. He has taken to the wrestling industry like a duck to water. And the ass beating that he laid down on Austin Theory tonight, Austin Theory came out, did the exact same thing he did last week. He smacked him across the face, knocked the headsets over, and McAfee wasn't going to take that this time. And he literally just gets on top of the desk, jumps down, and beats the living hell out of Austin Theory. And that was great. But afterwards, it was the facial expressions. It was the facial expressions and the emotion that he showed and the confidence that he just oozed. Like he had this look on his face like, come on, you little bitch, let's go. And it was incredible.
And he sells it.
Yes.
He sells his emotions and you get it. You know, a lot of guys do that, but their face is not telling the story. He told the story. And what I liked about it is they took him off the show. He didn't go out there anymore.
Yeah.
And I like they sent some people to separate them, but they should do more of. Don't expect these wrestlers just to separate on their own, but they sent a couple of agents out there and maybe a rep or two, and they pulled them apart, which is what had probably happened. And that was a staple of older wrestling. You know, you can't expect these guys to get in the ring and be looking at each other and not fighting because their business is fighting. So you got to put a barrier up there, and you got to put somebody to pull them apart. But I like that, which added a air of truthfulness to it, like legitimacy. And if you didn't know, and let's say somebody's never seen wrestling before and they saw that, I think they'd believe that almost.
Oh, for sure. And look, the reason why Pat McAfee is on this card, one, he's good. He is good in the ring. But two, Pat McAfee is blown up, right? His podcast has exploded. He was everywhere with the interview with Brock Lesnar. He was everywhere at the interview with Vince McMahon. He was at Radio Row during the Super Bowl. I mean, this guy is everywhere right now. And when Pat McAfee is getting physical on Friday Night SmackDown, that's going to end up everywhere. That's going to be on his show. They're going to talk about it. It's going to be all over the place, but he's going to deliver. And I believe wholeheartedly that by the time WrestleMania rolls around, this is going to be one of the matches that people are going to be most interested in watching. I think this.
Well, did you hear those fans when he got him down? I mean, they pipe in a lot of sound.
Sure.
But I think this sound here was legitimate because it sounded a little different what they were pumping in. They were buying into it.
I have been to 2 events with Pat McAfee at them, and he at the beginning of the show they'll introduce the announcers and they'll walk down to the ring and sit at their desk like they always do before they go on air, right? All of a sudden, man, when Pat McAfee comes down to 7 Nation Army, crowd loses their damn mind. They love this guy. I have never seen an announcer, except for maybe Jim Ross, get the kind of reactions that Pat McAfee does at a live event. And that's saying something considering he's been doing it for what, a year? Like, not even. He started after WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, he hadn't even been doing it a full year. But he's good. He's very good. He makes it make sense. And he's got some good, I don't know how much they feed him. I don't think they feed him that much. I think because his original thoughts in his head are better than what they could feed him.
Oh, for sure. Hands down.
So, and he does a great job. And I think
Very quick.
match right there it won't steal WrestleMania, but I think it'll be a memorable moment.
Oh, for sure.
In WrestleMania history.
I think this one, as far as the feuds on SmackDown, because obviously, you know, Brock and Roman are the creme de la creme right now. I think this feud is got one of the best builds going after the first 2 weeks here. And I think, honestly, Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn has got, I mean, the whole thing that they did with Sammy's phone number, getting that up on TMZ, Johnny Knoxville putting Sammy's phone number up on the plane and him getting 11,000 texts. I'm like, this is just good shit. Like, as Vince would say.
So after tonight, they'll release another number. So what do you think the number they will release?
Oh, like how many messages that he's got?
100,000.
Oh, I don't know. I know McAfee was like saying we got to get it to 20,000 by the end of the night, but I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, I bet it's, well, you know, if they got 2 million people watching, they're going to be at least 100,000. I'm just going to call a number just to see what it says.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So, and this is the way, you know, we talk about metrics and all those things. That's one thing they tell how strong that TV is. Of course, they can tell it by ratings, but, you know, somebody's not making any money dialing a number. They're doing it of their own accord. Mm-hmm. They're not making any money on it, but just see what those numbers are. And that's good for advertisers, too, because now they can show them they had got a great number. They can just show the advertisers, this is what we did.
And for those who are wondering,
one announcement.
And for those, and for those who are wondering why Johnny Knoxville is at WrestleMania, this is why. Because Johnny Knoxville is all over TMZ, and it's going to get the main.
Absolutely,
it's going to get people talking about WrestleMania in Dallas. That's why he's there.
That's why, and that's why, like WCW, they never had any kind of numbers like WWE had, and it took WWE years to learn this, how to do this. But now they've learned, and now you're seeing them. They're like a maestro conducting an orchestra, because they get all these hits here and all this hits here and all those. And it's good.
And you know,
what did you hear about the match with Brock and Roman from Madison Square Garden?
What do you mean? What did I hear about it?
What happened there?
Did
Cody Rhodes show up there?
No. As far as we know, Cody hasn't signed a contract at all. Okay. Brock's match was a 2-minute squash over Austin Theory, and then Roman and everybody came down and beat them up. To your point, Dutch, when you look at like these celebrity matches, more often than not, those end up being the ones that stick with you, that you remember. Like I think back to WCW matches. You brought up WCW matches. The first three that come up top of my head are Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Goldberg, DDP, Goldberg, and Kevin Nash for the cattle prod. But one of the first ones that comes up off the top of my head is that tag team match at Bash at the Beach between Hogan and Rodman and DDP and Karl Malone. And I was maybe 10 years old at the time. I don't remember if that was a good match. I don't remember much about, but I remember the match. I remember it happening. I remember the build up to it, because you had these major basketball stars coming off of the 1998 NBA Finals. And I just remember as a kid, growing up as a Chicago Bulls fan, growing up as a Michael Jordan fan, like every other kid did. I was in Cincinnati. We didn't have an NBA team. I ate that shit up. And there are casuals out there who will eat this shit. You eat this kind of shit up. You know what I'm saying?
So you loved it. Oh, yeah.
As a 10, 11-year-old, I loved it. Loved every second of it. And I still remember it.
And I'm much older than you. I was interested in it. I said, man, this is a big deal. Get those they're worldwide. They're known worldwide. So I wanted to see what they would do, and they did well. I heard. I didn't see the match, but I think they did well, and they kept it short and they kept it simple. They got in and they got out. Nobody got hurt, but it was something to come see.
Did you see The Last Dance, the documentary about Michael Jordan, when that came out on ESPN? Did you watch any of that?
I may have watched some of it, but what was the last thing he said?
It was, I think it was episode 3 or episode 4. They really kind of focused in on Dennis Rodman and what he was doing there during that 98 season. And like, he skipped out on a Bulls practice to go show up at Monday Night Nitro for like to do that thing. Like, he didn't tell the team like what he was doing or any of that when all of that was going down. It was absolutely insane to me. That was I'm so glad they covered that. Like, I'm so glad they covered that in the episode. It was definitely the best part of that entire documentary. We did have a main event tonight. Ricochet retaining his Intercontinental Championship over Sami Zayn. I was really happy when they put the title on Ricochet last week. He deserves it. He has been lying in the weeds or sitting back and catering for far too long. It's nice to see that he's getting a little bit of a push. And plus, Knoxville and Zayn does not need the Intercontinental Championship. But now I'm slightly concerned, Dutch, because I'm looking at the landscape of Friday Night SmackDown. He does not have an opponent. There's nobody on SmackDown that is there that's ready to go for an Intercontinental title shot 3 weeks out from WrestleMania. So now I'm concerned that the Intercontinental title is not going to be on WrestleMania, which would have made it a full calendar year that title has not been defended on a pay-per-view. I don't know. So
are you saying that they don't have time to get somebody ready, or there is nobody?
What I'm telling you is there is nobody. Especially if they were going to do now. They may have to change course completely with Big E's injury. That might open up some people. But like, looking at the SmackDown roster, I'll pull it up here real quick. I mean, you got Los Lotharios who aren't doing anything, the Viking Raiders who aren't doing it. So that you got tag teams here. Kofi and Woods. I mean, Mustafa Ali requested his release. He's not coming back. You got Mansoor.
Who requested the release?
Mustafa Ali.
Oh, okay.
You got Mansoor and I guess Jinder Mahal.
Yep.
Those are your options. Those are your options for WrestleMania for Ricochet for an
shot. Jinder Mahal, he doesn't fit it at all. That's not his style anyway.
I'd like to see them use Mansoor, but Steven's saying Madcap Moss isn't on the card. Yeah, I guess they could put Madcap Moss in an Intercontinental title match. I guess.
Who said that? Steven again?
Steven, suggestions like that will not get you brought up on the main screen very often anymore.
Well, I kind of like it.
Now, this is a good suggestion. Bring up LA Knight to go against Ricochet Mania. That I agree with. LA Knight is a guy that I don't know what he's doing at NXT anymore. I just don't. He's put over Grayson Waller. That's great. That guy needs to be on the main roster. He can go. He's over. He can cut a promo. He's 39. What the hell are you waiting for? Bring him up to the main roster and let's go. Let's heat him up. I mean,
he's 39 years old.
Yeah. I didn't know he was that old either.
I've heard him do a couple of promos. He's great.
He's awesome.
Get him there and let him run his mouth. He'll get himself over.
Yes.
Let him give him a match. Put him in there.
3 months ago, he was feuding with Cameron Grimes in NXT, and he was hated. And all of a sudden, boom, he's the hottest star in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that move in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I'd bring up LA Knight. We know Bron Breakker is being fast-tracked for the main roster over on Raw. I'd bring up LA Knight.
But this is what, okay, when you say that, that's almost like the kiss of death. He's being fast-tracked to make it. How many times have you seen him fast-track to get a guy over there, and then he gets over there and he just sits there and does nothing?
He either does nothing or they do the tweak. They do the tweak game where they change up his gear, they change up his music, they give
just
him
because they're going over there doesn't mean they're going. Yeah, doesn't mean they're going to be a success. They could get over there and just bomb like an egg, boom, just flatten out. But if you got to do the right thing with them.
Oh, for sure.
So, Bron Breakker, I hate the name. Bron, I would call him Bron before I'd call him Bron. But I think he could be a star there.
He wears the singlet. He's got sirens in his damn entrance music, and he barks. Why aren't we just letting him be Rex Steiner? I don't understand why they're not doing that.
Just let him do. That's the bloodline.
Yes.
Let him go and do the stuff.
I mean,
because what's old is new again.
Thank you, Jason.
It's a whole generation of people who's never seen the Steiners. So now they're going to see him. They're going to like him.
I think. Look, I like the crossovers that they've been doing on Monday Night Raw with even a guy like Tommaso Ciampa, who's been in NXT for a while. But the casuals, the mainstream, the main roster audience may not know who he is. I like the crossovers that they've been doing because it kind of gives the NXT talent a cup of coffee, kind of like a minor leaguer in baseball getting called up for a spot start or something like that, get a chance to show the stuff. Look, Bron Breakker had a great debut on Monday Night Raw, but he didn't get a big reaction because nobody really knew who he's still green too. He's still new. He's only been wrestling for like 6-7 months, but he's been doing fantastic. Every once in a while, he'll let that greenness show, but that happens when you're that new into the business. But he's obviously it's in his blood. It's in his genes. The fans know who the Steiners are. There are reports that the Steiners are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year as long as Scott signs off on it. Bring him up to the main roster. You want to do a name change? Let's not change Pete Dunne to Butch. Let's change Bron Breakker to Rex Steiner. That's a name change that actually makes sense.
Yep. Hey, you got the name recognition to start off with, and his name is Steiner. So what else do you need? So now the older people tell their kids or their grandkids or whatever, hey, this guy's daddy or this guy's uncle, they were kick-ass son of a gun. And the guys, he's almost anointed just by the royalty he came from, the wrestling heritage he came from. I don't know what they're thinking, to tell you the truth. They take the longest way around a simple problem.
All right, so what was the better way to go? Doing Randy Orton and Charlotte Flair, or doing Michael McGillicuddy? Like which ended up working out better? Obviously, people gravitate towards Charlotte Flair, Randy Orton. He could be the next Randy Orton. I'm not saying he is Randy Orton. That's two completely different styles, two completely different sets. But I'm talking about second generation superstar, third generation superstar that the fans gravitate towards, that they know is buried deep. They got roots in the business.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's the shortest. Translate that shit
that's up. The shortest distance between 2 points, and it will garner bigger rewards than that Bron Breakker stuff. That's even kind of hard to say anyway.
It is, actually. It is. I struggled to get over with that one. So we'll see what ends up happening with Ricochet. Again, I hope that the Intercontinental title is defended on the paper. I'd say give it to Shinsuke Nakamura, but hey, Rick Boogs earned them a tag team title shot by winning a singles match tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about things that make sense. So it'll be the Usos versus Boogs and Nakamura for the SmackDown tag team titles at WrestleMania. Let's move on to Rampage tonight. Open up the show with Darby Allin and Mark Quinn. This was a fun match. That 450 splash that Quinn hit off of the top turnbuckle down into the floor. That was spectacular.
What's that kid's name?
Mark Quinn.
Oh, wow.
He's good.
Man.
He's really
I saw
good.
That was a 360 off the top.
450.
Or it was one and a half, 450, 1.5. Okay. Man.
That was insane. And then the
closing. Good way to take those knees out, too, even with pads.
I hope he got paid for that bump. And then you get the shooting star press that was countered in the Fujiwara armbar, which was fantastic timing on Darby's part. I love this match.
I've been studying that Darby Allin. I like the way he looks at people because you don't know his intent, but I like what they're doing with him because he's highly leery of people that other than Sting.
Oh, yeah.
Because he trusts Sting, but he doesn't trust anybody else, even though they could be bona fide baby faces. He doesn't trust them, which I think is a good way to go with that kid.
Darby,
so,
when I talk about how McAfee, he's sold with his facial expressions, Darby doesn't necessarily sell his facial expressions. He sells with his eyes.
Yeah.
That's where he tells he tells it with his eyes. Edge is great at doing both. Edge will do like the facial expression and the eyes, but Darby, he's got this way of just putting this stoic look on his face, and then you can tell whether or not he trusts you, whether or not he's pissed off, whether or not he's weary of you, just by looking at his eyes. It's
good body language too.
Yes, absolutely. So the match was really fun, and then we get AFO coming down to try and ambush Sting and Darby. And then, of course, we hear that classic Hardy Boys music. Matt and Jeff come down. Roof blows off the joint.
And that's where I got my idea about Darby, because he was looking at the Hardy Boys like he doesn't trust them. So, I mean, it made an effect on me, and I think that's something they could amplify. And I think it'll work for him because he didn't talk, does he?
Not a whole lot.
Okay. But I kind of like the kid, even though he weighs 160 pounds. He's very talented.
160 pounds soaking wet. I like this right now because I agree with you. Darby doesn't trust them. Right now, they're not friends. They just have a common enemy at the moment. And I think if you looked at the way Dynamite this week shook out, where they had them, Jeff made his debut, and then they had all four of them in the ring. That was the foreshadowing. Eventually, it's going to be the Hardy Boys versus Darby and Sting. Somewhere down the road, that match is going to happen. And I think you're going to keep seeing little subtle teases like that. And that's where AEW does a really good job, is they're going to show you a little bit of what's coming. And then they deliver on it way the heck down the road. They did that with Wardlow and MJF, and they're going to do it with these guys. So they're going to take on AFO at the moment, but eventually they're going to fight each other, I think.
He has patience. And that's what you don't see in WWE. They have no patience.
None.
They will rush into something, makes half-ass sense. But AEW, I will say that if you just study what they're doing, pay attention to it, you'll see those little signs that the guy may just absolutely know what he's doing. He makes mistakes like everybody else.
Sure he does.
Yeah, but if you look at the show is pretty good. So
they've been, as far as Rampage, every now and again, just because it's the way that it's constructed and it just goes by so quick, those shows can sometimes be hit or miss, but they have been on an absolute heater with their Dynamites and then their Revolutions, and everything seems like a big show, and everything seems to be like you get like 3 new introductions like every single week. Like this roster just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This week alone, they added Jeff Hardy and they added William Regal. And Thor Strickland, by the way, who made his debut. We'll talk about that tonight. But it's like in 1 week, you add Jeff Hardy and William Regal, and you got a roster full of young talent. I mean, that is a treasure trove of wrestling knowledge that you're adding to that locker room.
Absolutely. And who surprised me more than anybody in AEW roster was Eddie Kingston. Because I knew him before, and I knew he could talk. But when he starts talking, you believe him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he does an interview. Oh, you can tell him to say certain things. I think he's going to say what he wants to say because that's how he gets over. And I think the people that, if they know his background, he didn't come from the greatest upbringing, and he had a tough time. But when he tells that story, you believe him, which adds to not only his mystique, but, you kind of like the guy. And he had to be tough growing up. So, I mean, when he talks real life stuff, people listen.
And this is where AEW also really strives, is because they let their talent be themselves. They're not.
And which I'm glad they're doing. Because I used to get so frustrated when I was in WWE, have some 25-year-old script writer that couldn't write a friggin' postcard. Come up and said, "Well, this is your interview." And I said, "Well, who approved this?" Well, Vince. And I'm thinking, no, Vince didn't approve this. You know, you could go in there and you could write it. I would just change what I wanted to change, basically. And, you know, when I can't remember names, when I would come out, you know what I'd say? Oh, I forgot. And they say, okay, he forgot. And Vince said, well, whatever. They wanted me to sound really stupid, like talking about the Constitution. I'm supposed to be a political, like, know everything about the political system and the Constitution. But they had something written down one day that made absolutely no sense. And I said, that's not right. Well, yeah, but, you know, the people won't know. I said, yeah, but I know. I said, Zeb Coulter would know this stuff, and he wouldn't say that.
Right.
They said, well, Vince likes it. I said, well, let's go see it. Well, you know, what do you want to change? Because they didn't clear it with Vince. That's what they did. And Vince, half the time, he's reading all that stuff. You know, after a while, it goes into darkness. You can't make heads or tails of it. Sometimes he just says, let's go with it. It's crazy. So I don't know how the company does it.
So did you ever get, was there any one particular time that you just got absolutely reamed out for something that you may have changed?
Never.
Really?
This was my situation or my experience with Vince. I was over with Vince because of the years of history. I didn't meet him to the 90s, but he always knew that I started back when he started, basically. And he'd read my name all through the years. And when I got there, it was just like, well, he's an old timer. So, and no, he never reamed me out. Never. He was always very nice and very professional with me, always. And I thank him for that. Because one good reaming out, I'd have walked out the door. I didn't come there to get cussed out. I could stay home and get that shit.
We saw Mercedes Martinez and Jamie Hayter on the show tonight. I thought this was a really good match right up until, of course, it's somebody involving Britt Baker's group, so we knew we were going to get outside interference.
That Jamie Hayter, she's a pretty big girl. How big is she? How much she weigh, you think?
I don't know.
She got some big legs.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. You know, they had a good match.
Yeah. And of course,
really did.
Here's the thing. Like every Britt Baker, every Rebel, every Jamie Hayter match, almost without fail, there is some kind of outside interference or shenanigans that happens in it. Very rarely do any one of those three, if they're in a match, is there some kind of a clean, 100% clean finish.
Well, they're heels for one thing.
I get that.
So sometimes you have to give the babyface a reason to lose. But what's wrong with him getting hurt? Tweaking a knee, tweaking an leg, their arms out, and then you take advantage of that. I mean, they get beat, but, you know, they actually kind of beat themselves. But then the heels really go to work on it. And then after the match is over, they go back and work on it some more. That makes them heels.
Sure.
Because they don't respect fair play and, you know, sportsmanship, because they can beat somebody, and then when they got somebody beaten down, that's what makes them heels, when they take advantage of a defenseless victim. But I don't know. What do I know? I've only been around it for 50 years. I don't know.
I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, like, if you're looking at this from a storyline standpoint, you know, from an authoritative standpoint, after a year of talent getting cheated out of matches left and right, you'd think, like, at a certain point, you'd just go, all right, y'all ain't allowed at ringside anymore. Like, get the hell out. Like, or the referees would know to toss them almost immediately. That's the other thing. The refs never, like, toss anybody.
Nope.
Ever. It's one of those weird things and they get easily distracted. I think the refereeing in AEW is one of the things that drives me nuts the most. Was this match tonight with Jamie what's her name? Hayter? Yeah, Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter. Man, that referee could have thrown three three people out at different times, and it would have got over like a son of a bitch. You're out of here. Oh my God. Then go again. Look, you're out of here. And then do the third one. And then I'll have them run back in. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? That the girl be getting her ass kicked, and they just all come back and they've already been thrown out. What difference does it make?
Right.
That's what I'd have done.
Or you could just have Jamie Hayter beat Mercedes Martinez.
And then come back in and take advantage of it because you're mad at the referee, so you take it out on her.
Yeah, and then have Jamie, and then have
I would have Tony Khan run in the ring, and they push slam him out into the first row. That's fucking good TV, really. Because you don't expect that.
I would love that.
Excuse my language.
Oh, it's all right. It's 12:16 on the East Coast, Dutch. It's officially
okay.
Reminder, everybody, turn your clocks back up.
Okay, I do. I have a problem tonight with Keith Lee.
Yeah, I was just about to get there.
It was okay, and he was putting this match. He beat the guy.
Right.
Then that Dezo Soto, what's that guy's name? Came in there. What's his name?
Oh, one of QT's boys. Yeah,
he come in there, and that was okay. But then they had the other two come in there, and they left him laying. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. You're trying to get Bruce Lee over, and he's bigger than everybody else. To leave him laying like that is not a way to get him over. I don't think you should ever got him down.
I don't think
you can't be putting him over like a stone base, and all of a sudden the next week he's laid out like this. He's 400 pounds.
I understand. I don't think that was about getting Keith Lee over because I think Keith Lee's already over.
No, I'm not saying.
When you're looking at, I understand. Hang on. When you're looking at the AEW audience, right? You have to look at them as a smarter audience because they're more the hardcore fans. They know who Keith Lee is. He was over the second he walked into AEW. Tonight was about putting Powerhouse Hobbs over. With that,
you still do it. I would have left more intrigued to it. It's what I'd have done. And it's 6-1, half dozen of the other. So I wouldn't have left him laying. Nothing else, I'd have had damn Hobbs go in there and they just do the stare down and let the face tell the story. Now he don't have anything to come back, but you know that Hobbs wants him.
Oh, for sure.
Sometimes that's all you got. That's all you need to know. Then you save that beat down to the next week. So you draw a week out of it. So you didn't show any weaknesses on Keith Lee's part. So that's what I'm saying.
I read.
What was that last comment?
He said, "Can't wait for Keith Lee versus Powerhouse Hobbs," which is obviously what they're building to.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
But I think there's a way to get there without hurting either one of them. Tonight, I think maybe Keith was just down and out.
He was, but he did just go through an entire match, and he did get attacked by 4 different people, and Powerhouse Hobbs is a beast, so yeah. And Keith Lee's not used to taking a spine buster, so, those kind of moves would have kind of a high impact. So maybe it was a combination of tired, and I'm rambling here, but it makes sense to me. I didn't mind it so much.
Oh, God. Okay, anyway. No, I liked it. I liked it too, but I would have left the intrigue between them and let this finish stay to next week or the week after. What's their next pay-per-view?
That would be Double or Nothing in May. So they got some time. They got some time to build up to that. This match with QT Marshall was good. Lee got all of his, his big boy offense in. The thing that I thought was interesting is QT got more offense in on Keith Lee than he did on Hook at Revolution over the weekend. But either way, this was a fun match. QT does a really good job of playing a dude that you want to see get his ass kicked. He does a good job of selling, so this was a fun match. But the main event I thought was the match of the night between Swerve Strickland and Tony Nese. I love the little callbacks there. They're matches that they used to have on 205 Live when they were both in WWE. Swerve Strickland, Dutch, this was one of the guys that was with Hit Row when they were let go. You didn't really get a chance to see him perform on SmackDown. You saw him tonight. What did you think of him?
Very good. Very good. And Nese, I've seen him before. No, they were good together. Now they need a story. Put that story out there. And, a guy can actually be a crappy worker if he's got a good story.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Handsome Jimmy Valiant. He couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper bag, but the people loved him. He would sing and dance his way to the ring. I was helping in Memphis one time. He said, "Hey, brother, how long do I got to go?" I said, "Well, it'll take you 5 minutes to get in the ring, okay? And it'll take you 5 minutes to get back because the people like that. About 3 minutes." And he went in there, "Yeah, how'd you been doing?" Stomped his foot. And he went around. People going nuts. And he never even took a hold. But they loved Handsome Jimmy because he made them feel good. There was an old saying one time, people may not remember what you say or what you do, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Sure.
And when here come Handsome Jimmy, they're up and stomping. Now it's time to have a good time. And it was easy to get heat on Jimmy because the people liked him. The more the people like somebody, the easier it is to get the heel hot. Because now they want to see that babyface come back and kick his ass. Because it's almost like if they really like a babyface and the heels get him down, he's almost like he's attacked a member of your family. Man. And that's what you're looking for. Of course, every match can't be that way. But a lot of heels are not that way either. You do have heels that don't want to be heels. They don't want to be booed. I actually loved it, to tell you the truth. But
look, I was always told as long as you're getting a reaction, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter if they're cheering, doesn't matter if they're booing. The death is silence, is apathy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's according to the reaction you're getting. I'm going in and out in those Puerto Rico rings. God, there's people trying to kill me. They're throwing bottles and ducking and dodging and hiding behind cops. And the cops I was holding them, and they were saying, "Turn me loose. Don't put me in front of you." And they were all barking this stuff. Oh, it's crazy. And I went through that first time for about 6, 7 months. It was nuts. I never will forget that. But when you get out of the ring, you are good that you survived. So,
John Castro
story time can't be about WWE time. What's that for? What's that for?
You were talking about putting a story on Tony Nese and Swerve Strickland.
No. Oh, I agree with what he said. No, it's not. It's a personal story. It's not a story about WWE. You don't even want to bring them up. It's almost like their time with WWE. Sometimes they kind of can do that if they don't beat it up. But there's not much of a story that's going to make you like a babyface. If you're talking about WWE, if he was so good, why did they get rid of him? Or why did he quit? Or why is he here?
Right. I liked the inclusion of it tonight because it gave you a starting off point for this rivalry.
What did they say about it? They met each other in WWE?
Well, no, they were just talking about, I'll kick your ass like I used to on Friday nights, which was a reference to when they used to wrestle on 205 Live. They had their match on 205 Live and a series of matches on there as well. So when they were on the Cruiserweight show in WWE, that's all they did. That's all they had to say was drop that one little line that said, yeah, it tells any of the fans that are in the know, they already know. They were in WWE. We have a history with one another. It was on this program. All right. Now I'm going to go out here in this new company on this brand new stage, and I'm going to kick your ass like I did on Friday nights back in the old day.
I never see the finish from the last match. So what did they do on that match?
Shane Strickland got the win over Tony Nese. There was a spot. It went a little too long for me because there was a really cool spot where like Swerve did this like double roll through and then did like a jumping flatliner on him. And I'm like, oh, that was a fucking awesome finish. And then Nese kicked out at 2. And I'm like,
what the?
Why? I don't get. And then there was like, I forget exactly. There was a couple other moves, and then Swerve went up to the top rope and hit kind of like a coup de grace looking thing. I'm not sure what it was, but and he got the pinfall there. I thought it went like a minute too long.
See, the agents in WWE, they're good, but they really don't have the timing down. The agents in WWE, like if you go up like the Briscoes, and when they used to have Arn there, and Arn is here. They should go to Arn with all those finishes, so they don't, like you said, they hit him with that move, and he kicks out. So that would have been a hell of a way to end it, wouldn't it, with that move?
I thought that was the point. I thought that was a logical point to do this. And Steven here real quick, bringing up a reminder due to the NCAA tournament next week. Rampage is at 11:30 next Friday.
What? I did hear that. I was going to bring that up, but I didn't want to think about it.
So
I got to have 30 minutes wrestling free before we come and talk about it?
No, that's an hour and a half after SmackDown.
It's an hour. Oh, it is an hour and a half. So what are we going to do?
That's a good question. I will talk with the higher ups. My guess would be, instead of going on at 12:30 in the morning to recap everything, my guess would be is we would go on at 10 o'clock and talk about SmackDown and do a preview show leading up to Rampage. But that would be my guess. I will talk with Raju and we'll figure it out. And we'll make sure to make the announcement about what time Smack Talk will actually be next week. Make sure to follow us on Facebook. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. And we'll get that announcement once we all figure out what the best course of action will be. Because, I mean, it's a Friday night. We appreciate everybody enjoying their time with us. But, you know, nobody wants to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever the hell it's going to be by the time this show wraps up. So we appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. And we'll figure out next week.
I appreciate Stephen telling us that, reminding us that. So, Stephen, just send us your name, social security number, and address. And we're to send a check, so we're going to send you a little check. So
I'll tell you what,
a credit card number if you can send it.
I'll tell you what I really liked about the Swerve Strickland Tony Nese match is they told a story at the beginning of this match, because I like to try to figure out the story that they're trying to tell, and it was clearly that Shane was very familiar with Tony Nese, and Tony was trying to hit Swerve with like all these different moves, and he just kept nonchalantly and very smoothly like ducking him and this that. It reminded me of Mr. Miyagi when he fought Cobra Kai and Karate Kid. You know, like they couldn't touch him, and Tony was more injuring himself than he was Swerve Scott. I thought that was a really, really good start. Swerve Strickland. God dang, old habits die hard. I thought that was a really, really great start to the match. I liked the finish. If it would have been the finish, thought it went like 60 seconds too long. But overall, I think this is a great debut.
Strickland won. This is Strickland's debut.
Yes, I thought it was a great debut for Swerve. He's obviously already over with the audience. It's another good pickup for AEW.
Well, one thing I like about Rampage, it's an hour. Yep. And they can pack a lot into that hour. So where was this show, Rampage? Where was it from?
Oh, gosh.
Was it? It wasn't a live show, was it?
No, this one was definitely taped tonight. You could tell by the way they edited everything together. It was wherever Dynamite was this past Wednesday, which I don't remember. This is why we need Sid here. Sid knows all the minute details and remembers everything. The guy's a freaking encyclopedia, to be completely honest.
Are you saying I can't remember anything?
No, I'm saying I can't remember anything.
Oh, well, that is true.
That is very.
I hate to be correcting you every other sentence, but.
All right, Dutch. What do you got going on outside of here?
Well, I'm doing I'm getting some dolls, and I'm going to have them for sale.
Oh, okay.
And I'm getting another website.
I thought you were talking about you were just going to go out and buy some dolls to play with.
Stop it. And a guy actually made me 2 completely different looking dolls. I don't know how they make these. How do they make those dolls? You can buy the parts, right? And you just make the clothing for them. I don't know how they do that.
I don't know. 3D printers. I'm not sure, man.
Is it 3D? Is that what they use?
I don't know.
You should have a doll made.
I should.
You can send me one so I can stick pins in it. I get mad at you.
Well, stick one in the small of my back. Maybe it'll make it feel better.
So your back is hurting?
Yeah, every day. Every damn day.
Do you do stretches?
Yes, I do.
You do the roller ball, or
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
You got to do that. You got to do that.
Yeah, no, they're actually I woke up one morning at work last week, and my back was killing me while I was doing the 6:30 news, and we had like a 2-minute commercial break. So I got down on the floor, and we moved into a new studio, so they're smaller, right? So I get down on the floor to kind of arch my back and do some stretching. And then our sports guy who comes on like 5 minutes after me, I have no idea why he was going into the booth this early, all of a sudden like kicks the dang door in because he didn't see me sitting in the chair and just damn near blasts me in the face with this big ass soundproof heavy door. And I'm like, like, dude, what the hell? So anywho, yeah, it was, that was fun.
Did he apologize to you?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did.
Right.
It was just, of course that would happen at that particular point in time that I'm down on the ground stretching. And then all of a sudden a dude kicks the door in my face.
All right. What you got going on?
Of course, you guys can catch me and Sid every Monday through Thursday on the Believe in Pro Wrestling podcast, which is available at 7 a.m. Wherever podcasts are available, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel that is Believe in Pro Wrestling, spelled BLEAV. Please subscribe. And if you subscribe now, you'll get ahead of the game for any giveaways that we do in the future. And plus, you will make sure that you don't miss out 3 p.m. on Monday. Got a 20-minute conversation with Mr. Face of the Revolution himself, Wardlow, that is going to be dropping on the Believe in Pro Wrestling podcast YouTube channel. Again, that is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, so make sure to check that out. And if you missed that, you can catch my write-up on that interview for SB Nation on CagesideSeats.com. Also, you can feel free to follow me on the Twitter machine at Ucchino, as you see there, and follow him at Dirty D Mantell. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate all the comments, your questions, your concerns. Still can't believe they named Pete Dunne Butch.
Embarrassing.
I agree with you.
You probably suggested it, Bobby.
Of course.
Couch up. You said, I'd change that Pete Dunne's name.
I got Vince's ear. I got Vince's ear. They do a lot of what I tell them to do. Like putting the Intercontinental title on Ricochet. That was totally my idea. Sid will be back with us next week. You guys enjoy your weekend, everybody.
See ya.